To those working within the field of demolition, their industry is highly professional. Their every move is governed by multiple layers of regulation and legislation. There's a training course for everything and a competence card to match. There's a clearly defined hierarchy and everyone knows their role. And even though no two demolition projects are the same, each contract is carried out with rehearsed and choreographed precision. That, however, is not the wider perception. The public, for example, still firmly believes that Fred Dibner was the last word in demolition technology, that demolition contractors are forever blowing stuff up, and that they regularly pitch up and demolish a much-loved and historic building just because they've got nothing better to do. And the perception among those in the neighbouring construction sector isn't much better. In some instances, it's worse. Those in construction see themselves as the elite, and those in demolition as knuckle-dragging half-wits, not as partners, but as a necessary evil to be endured on the path to the building of their shiny new structure. Through its silence, the demolition industry has allowed itself to be cast in the role of villain. It's allowed others to present a false narrative that is not representative of the demolition industry of today. And of course, the industry hasn't always helped itself in that regard. It's hard to claim that demolition is not a hazardous environment in which to work while it continues to experience site injuries and fatalities. But the demolition sector has enacted way more health and safety controls than its cousins in construction. And while a single death or injury in the workplace is one too many, the demolition industry hurts and kills far fewer people taking buildings down than construction does putting them up. Some may point to the £60 million in fines handed down to 10 demolition contractors and suggest that the sector walks a fine line of legality. But various parts of the construction sector went down the same path with the Competition and Markets Authority, and they too were found wanting. Indeed, a number of major UK house builders are currently feeling the hot breath of the CMA on their necks as we speak. If they're found guilty, it will make the £60 million in demolition fines look like chump change. Two wrongs don't make a right, I understand that. But before construction points accusing fingers at demolition, perhaps it needs to get its own house in order. Similarly, when architects, developers, politicians and environmentalists hold forth on the subject of sustainability, they'd have you believe that demolition contractors were spewing embodied carbon into the atmosphere and chucking millions of tons of valuable resources into a landfill. Nothing could be further from the truth. There is no industry that is better at recycling and reuse. Meanwhile, the construction sector is profligate, wasting materials and resources at a rate that would make your head spin. The problem is that as an industry, demolition has surrendered the narrative. It's allowing others to write its story and to speak its truth. Whether it's an industrial accident, collusion, or the questioning of its environmental credentials, the demolition industry's lack of response has been deafening. It's failed and continues to fail to counter criticism. It's failed to fight its corner. And in the case of the bid rigging and collusion, the industry's silence has effectively tainted the reputation of the many with the actions of the few. If ever there was an industry in need of a PR makeover, demolition is surely it. It has so many positive stories to tell, but no one is telling them. The silence isn't working. Demolition has been cast as the villain, and no one is doing a damn thing about it.